Welcome to our podcast, Inspiring Living, with me, Mark Candelaria. I am an architect, blogger, traveler, chef, father, and husband. I am the founder and now partner of a fabulous 20-person architecture firm specializing in high-end residential architecture, designing amazing homes across the country. We have hosted tours over the last 20 years to Italy, Spain, and soon Napa. And in the course of all this, I have met a lot of interesting people who truly inspire me. We are excited to now be in our second season, and our podcast is about all the opportunities that are right there in front of us to inspire living. Yes, we will talk about architecture and design, but every week we will venture to all sorts of topics that will inspire you, teach you, and motivate you to inspire living every day. My guests will include a wide gamut of amazing people, from those in the design industry to clients to real estate professionals, chefs, artists, sports figures, and philanthropists, and people who just flat out get it. So sit back and enjoy, and let's have some fun exploring all the opportunities that are there just waiting for us. Please subscribe and get ready to be inspired every week. Okay, as my dad says, here we go. Welcome, everyone, and thanks again for listening to our podcast, Inspiring Living. Welcome to our second season of podcasts, and wow, January is just speeding by. It is just cruising. Well, this morning is special in that it is raining nicely outside, which for those of you listening outside of Arizona, rain is a real novelty here. So us here in Arizona are really, really enjoying this. I have a nice fire going, and I'm looking out and watching Camelback Mountain fade in and out as the rain comes through, and enjoying the sound of the rain and now the early morning light coming through the clouds, and it's just a magical morning. So thank you. This is just absolutely fantastic. Okay, today's podcast features two truly amazing women who are part of an organization that has become very dear to my heart, especially following all of the social upheaval of last year. Today we welcome Jazmine Hall and Dalila Gamper, both from Elevate, which is an amazing organization whose mission it is to work with and inspire and assist young inner city children and help keep these kids on track to lead productive lives in our community. I think it's easy to watch the news and say, wow, what a mess, but that's someone else's problem. Well, guys, let me tell you, it is our problem, and we can all make a big difference just by taking a few small steps to the other side, and with just a few small collective actions, the next thing you know, we've created a tsunami, and we are making a big difference improving our community. Okay, give this a listen and direct message me with your thoughts, and give our podcast a review. Okay, here we go. I have two amazing ladies with me today, both involved in an organization that is very dear to my heart. Today I have Jazmine Hall and Dalila Gamper, both of Elevate, which is a charity organization whose mission is to deliver long-term, life-changing relationships with urban youth. We will talk more about that here in the podcast, but welcome you both. We're Zooming in today. I know everyone's busy and we're all trying to be safe, so thank you for joining us via Zoom.
Thank you for having us.
We are so excited to join you, Mark.
Thank you so much. We met once, didn't we, Jazmine, in live, or have we have met live once?
So we met because I believe you came to an event before, but then Tom introduced you on our Zoom a while back as well. But yeah, because you came to an event or two, I believe.
Oh yeah, I came to the two live ones, and then obviously I joined the virtual one this year. So
exactly. So yes,
you did a great job on. So
thank you.
So I understand that both of you have some new responsibilities with Elevate and new titles as we start 2021. So Dalila, I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh, awesome. So I am, as it's very new title since January 1st. So executive director for Elevate Phoenix. So that's my new title. So yeah, I'm excited. Yep. I'm excited about what that role brings and the new responsibilities added onto it. But yeah, I've been around with Elevate for a while. So yeah, I'm excited.
Congratulations. That's awesome. That's really
Thank
awesome.
you.
And then Jazmine, what about you? I think you got a new title too.
Yeah, so we're transitioning, it all kind of still falls under the whole development side, but now I'm going to start focusing on the director of special initiatives and the full post-secondary plans. So I'm really excited just to put some major focus on, some of our most valuable assets, which is our kids once they're ready to take those next steps and connecting them to all our constituents.
Yeah, that's great. So I was trying to look back and remember how I got started with Elevate. And I think it all started with Tom Lehman with me.
who is a big spearheader of this whole organization, as I understand it. And we were doing a little work for Tom and his lovely wife, Melissa, and he got us involved, and thank God he did. I just absolutely love this group because it really resonates with me on how I kind of got my start. And so I finally found an organization that I think, here's my opportunity to give back a little bit. So I think that's how it was. Wasn't it, Jazmine? Does that ring a bell?
It was, Mark, and the more and more we're talking, I believe your organization has sponsored several of Annie's breakfasts as well. I mean, you guys have been a give back at, these levels. And now that you kind of getting a chance to see I am so excited to get you deeper and more in depth and involved in. Tom has always been that amazing spearhead to just connect good people to good people. So
yeah, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
No, I love both of them a lot. They're just great people. And every time I've had a chance to do something with them, it's always been a real pleasant experience. And just a little bit, I've gotten to know you, Jazmine. I can't wait to do more stuff with you. You just, every time.
me too.
Every time I see you, you just fire me up. And I love people like that. So.
Thank you so much.
Jazmine is definitely a person for us.
Yeah.
Her nickname is the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, well, I've been called that a few times myself. So you put Jazmine and I in the room together, it could be pretty.
We're about to make whole fireworks.
Exactly.
I love it.
Okay, so Dalila, I'm going to keep messing that up till I get it right.
It's okay.
Dalila.
It's not a common name.
How did you get involved in Elevate?
Wow, there's history with Elevate with me. So in my former life, I was a teacher. So when this opportunity came about, as a teacher, I just felt like my hands were a little tied. I can only do so much. I saw so much need, and I wanted to go where I was needed. So I started off in the Roosevelt School District, and at the time, that was a very needy district. And it continues to need a little bit more help and support. And so back then, I wanted to do more. I saw a lot in my kids that my hands were tied with. I just could do so much. And so when Elevate came around, it was like, oh man, like this covers all my loves under one umbrella, so to speak. So I can help a kid educationally, I can help a kid mentally, I can help them socially, emotionally. So we cover the whole kid. We're that fill-in gap. And so wherever there's support that's needed, we can provide that for them. So when I came along and I started off as a first teacher mentor in Elevate Phoenix back in 2009, that was a way for me to be able to give back in all those spaces. So I could teach, but then I can also provide all those other little gaps and needs that I saw in kids that were necessary and that they weren't being filled. So this was like combining all my loves in one. So that's how I started off with Elevate.
You stayed teaching, but you also got involved with Elevate.
So I actually transitioned. So I went from being a teacher. I had worked for another nonprofit. So I had some knowledge about nonprofits before I came to Elevate, because Elevate came brand new to Arizona in 2009. It stemmed from a replication called Colorado Uplift in Colorado. So I was just able to see this on paper, and so I didn't see like what this actually looked like lived out. And so I was like, wow, this sounds amazing. This sounds exactly what I would love to do. So that was my starts.
So
when Elevate first started.
Yeah, right from the beginning. So that's pretty
neat.
Right
the OG, Mark.
Yeah, that's pretty neat to see something like that. And that's 11 years already, almost 12. So that's pretty impressive.
Yes, absolutely.
And then what about you, Jazmine? How'd you get?
Oh, when a mission tugs at your heart.
I got involved because I heard of Elevate Phoenix through my mentor from my high school when I was in high school. And my mentor, who's been with me literally from high school and to pushing me into getting my AA, to my bachelor's, to buy my own house, to being in my wedding. And actually, my mentor told me, you know what? You really need to take a look at this organization. I know who you are. I know what this organization stands for. And it is something you'll get to do, but you'll get a little bit of resources and support behind what you've always done for free.
Right.
I've, given back to the communities probably all my life. And at the time when it was originally presented to me, I was, young and making a lot of money. And I'm like, I'll volunteer, I'll donate. What do you need? But no, to get into it as of yet. She's like, okay, no worries. And then, you know, the opportunity came back around. And this time, you know, my mentor, she tells me, you know what, Jazmine, before you say anything, just come and see it.
Yeah.
So this organization has already been around for probably a couple years. And I go and I see the very first pipeline that was at Cesar Chavez. And like my jaw dropped. She was so right. Like this was so impressive. And they're ready to open up the second pipeline over at Camelback. And so I turned around and said, sign me up. And the most amazing part about all that was my mentor became my boss. And you're looking at her right now.
There you go.
My mentor was Miss D from when I was in high school. And she's the one who showed me Elevate Phoenix. And she started the first pipeline and I was able to help start the second right under her leadership. And then the rest is kind of, ever since we started at Camelback, we started taking a look at him like, you know, Dee, we got to keep doing this. Like, just amazing. So we said, how can we not only sustain what we're doing, but continue to grow organically? Right. And that's where I took the role and stepped out of, you know, being a teacher mentor. About 4 years later or so, I became the development. I moved to the development side of things, and the rest has been history. And that's the same kind of model we've been trying to focus on, is not only sustaining, but growing as, you know, as we can, because our whole entire program, what was it, Dee, in the very first class? Was it how many students?
So we had 28 in our first class. And now we're at about, about 250 in the high school space. That's awesome. Just starting off from 28 in the high school to that many in high school. And then, you know, the number just gets dramatic when we go and we talk about the elementary schools that we're involved in too. So we're serving about 5,000 yearly. So
that's amazing. That's totally amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the mission, which is to deliver long-term, life-changing relationships with urban youth. What does that mean, and what is Elevate all about? I'll let Dalila go first.
Awesome. So, man, the best way I know how to explain what we do is that we do life with our kids, right? So when we say long-term, life-changing relationships, that's exactly what we mean. We mean for the long haul. And when I talk to other people about it, I say, think about everything that you do for others or that you do in general. About 95% of that you do out of relationship, right? And so that's the niche that we go in with kids. Like, we want to have that relationship. We want the right to be heard on other platforms in their life and be able to support in any way that we can. So when we say the long haul, like, I am still in relationship with a good chunk of our very first class of almost 12 years ago. Wow, so just cool. To give you perspective, like one of my girls, Brianna, she's now a nurse. We have Amaris, who got her bachelor's in business management. We have, Brian in our second class, who is a mortgage financer. Like, he's now 30. So we have our kids now that were in that first class that are, married. They have a family now with their own kids, their own children we're still in a relationship with. So when we say for the long haul, that's what we mean. Yeah. Unless they say they don't want anymore, which is we're knocking really on doors like this.
Right. Yeah.
I see you.
Well, I think what people understand that are probably listening to this is, you take these kids that could have easily gone down a completely different path. And it's not the path of being a mortgage broker, or it's not a path of being a nurse. It's a bad path. A lot of these kids, not because of their own doing, they had nothing to do with it. It was the only path that was even open or presented to them. Right. And absolutely. I think what I love about Elevate is you show them the opportunity, you help them, guide them down the path that's something good for them, not only for them, but their entire family.
Absolutely. We help them dream. So, we say this often, is that we hold hope for our kids until they can hold it for themselves. Right. So there are deep dreams that are buried in these kids, and there's potential, and that's what we see in these kids. And so they just need the opportunity to be able to express those, to be able to go after them. So we, that's where that relationship builds. The more you are in relationship with kids, the more they are open to share what their real dreams are versus what's out there in society, what's pulling them in different directions. Hey, this is something in me that I have that, maybe people don't know about, or maybe they think, oh, you can't because of whatever kind of circumstances that you grow in. And so for us to say, no, absolutely you can. And let me show you how you can do that. And let me hold on to this. If you don't have it all for yourself, let me hold on to it for you until you can have it for yourself. In which, in that space, we release it to them.
Yeah. So I think,
just to your point,
is you're tapping into their soul. You're tapping into a part of their soul that they might not even recognize, but when someone all of a sudden pulls on it, they go, oh yeah, that is who I really am, not how these other kids are defining me. And I love that you guys know how to do that and get into that kernel, that seed kernel, and let it blossom into something really amazing.
Yeah, we like to tell them, I would love to let you borrow my eyes so you can see you the way I see you. And a lot of times out of that relationship, they start doing it because they said, oh, well, if you see it, then I can see it. And that's how they finally started building that confidence. Yeah. And, Mark, just to also kind of give a general picture so you can kind of have a full understanding of the way the framework Elevate works for some of your listeners that may not have a full grasp of who Elevate is. We are a nonprofit organization embedded in urban high schools. So Title I schools, we go to the schools who are most who need us the most, right? And we have a great relationship with the superintendent, Dr. Justin, who has been instrumental in getting us going as well. But we have an actual accredited elective class called Peer Leadership that is in the high schools that kids have to come to every single day. So we're teaching life skills, character skills, leadership development. And what makes us unique is as this class, if they're coming to 4th grade, they go down to the feeder elementary school kids and they teach what they're being taught. Now that changes the game for a lot of them because now they're being held accountable to a different level.
Yeah, I love that.
They're also demonstrating what they are getting, meaning that the platform of teacher gives the perfect segue to do life with our high school kids 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's where you start seeing the true transformation between the mentorship in and out of school, as well as the students, the high school students going down to their kiddos and teaching what they're learning. Yeah. And then the part about it is these kids are coming into the class that are being assigned to us through the counselors. These are the ones that are dropping out at 52%, right? Mm-hmm. These are like the last ditch case effort students. And then by the time they go through our program, not only are we seeing first generational high school students, graduates, but they're also graduating at 98%. And it doesn't even stop there, which is most exciting to me. Because you say, you know what? It's a great job. We're so excited. You graduated high school, but it doesn't end. What about what's next? So we push them onto our post-secondary program, which is RISE. And we say, hey, we're going to help scholarship you to your first college experience, but just to try it out, right? Dee tell me this great line all the time. She's like, our kids always try to tell us they don't like broccoli. And you tell them, you can't tell me you don't like something until you at least try it. Well, that's what RISE is for our high school graduates. We say, try college. And after a 6-week program where they get 6 college credits, we ask them 5-week program, getting 6 college credits. We ask them, hey, what do you want to do next now that you're an adult? If you want to continue on to college, great. We'll help you find more scholarships. Yep. Not all of our kids are college bound, and that's okay. But what about a trade certificate? And if not that, what about the military or armed forces? And if not that, how can we get you extra skills to go into the workforce and get you into a career type of job that you can support a family? And 100% of our kids leave with a post-secondary plan of one of those 4 options and give right back to the community out of by joining our alumni and keeping them connected. So that's what makes this full cycle just so mind blowing that I've been a lot of organizations and a lot of community services, and I've never quite seen anything quite like this.
Yeah, well, you're creating a culture is what you're doing.
Yes.
Not just a program, you're creating a lifelong, lifetime culture with these people that invite them or encourage them to give back to the next generation. So it perpetuates forever if with what you're doing. It's just fantastic.
Absolutely.
And that's how you make long-lasting change, and that's what caught my attention on this organization. That's just, I think, is so awesome. And I think a lot of people, it's easy for people to complain about the world, and this has been a rough year for a lot of people, both socially and politically. I mean, it's just been a lot of upheaval overall. And I think what I wanted to do with your organization was just, here's a way that I can make a difference by helping you guys make a difference you're making, versus just sitting there and bitching and complaining about the world. It's like, you know what? Get off your butt and do something about it. And there's so many easy ways to do it. I'm involved with Habitat for Humanity. I love Elevate. There's all these great organizations. And as I see it now in my life, they all are kind of tying together. So it's like, okay, I can use Elevate to help Habitat can, they all work together, but they all have that same underlying thread of teach a man to fish, don't just give him a fish, And that's what I love about the fact you guys are teaching generation after generation to do this stuff. I think that's fantastic. So anyway, I went off on a little tangent. That's I'm very passionate about.
Nope, it's good. It's a good tangent.
Yeah. So okay, so you guys just had the big virtual gala here a couple months ago, which again was a great program. I think it's on YouTube, right? We can put the link on, and there's ways there that when you watch this
it is
gala
and our website,
it'll make you want to get involved. I mean, when you hear the stories of these kids and how this program has changed their lives, it's easy for you to get it and go, okay, I want to be a part of this. So I really encourage everybody to go to the link. We'll put it in the story notes so you can check it out. But just take a few minutes to check it out, because it's awesome. So tell us about the gala. How did you guys do? How much money did you guys raise?
Yeah, I mean, how's it on our website too?
Yeah, perfect. How much money did you guys
so
raise
Mark, this being our fourth annual Elevate Phoenix Invitational hosted by Tom Lehman, which is also right there on our website too, Mark. So if any of your viewers want to check it out, they just go to that www.elevatephoenix.org. But we knew we had to scale back our goals because obviously pandemic hit and we were not able to do the same type of fundraising. But, Tom being the visionary that he is, he's like, you know what, last year we tried to do, $1 million, but this year, how about we do about 600? That's your goal. I'm like, Tom, who's raising $600 in the middle of a pandemic? And you know what he says? I believe in Elevate, and Elevate is the opportunity to share hope. And what you do is you just simply invite people. So I was like, okay, Tom, roll up the sleeves, do this. And Mark, can I tell you, we raised $600,075. $600,000. So we literally hit goal just by like $75, which is
all it counts.
Crazy.
The goal line's there. All you got to do is get the nose of the ball over it.
There you go.
It was fantastic. Like when we told people that we were able to hit that goal, like literally everybody's eyeballs like popped out, jaw dropped, like, wow, really? Because it really is that whole point of it's an invitation to join in something that is really transforming the lives of our future leaders. Right. And when, like you said, you were able to look and hear the stories and recognize we don't even charge the schools to get in. So this is an investment into living stones that pour back into the lives of our future. And so people really did get behind it, and we were able to, hit those goals and, continue to just maintain.
Yep. Losing you a little bit there. I don't know if it's me or you.
Said our promise was to deliver that long-term life. It could be.
There you
go.
You're back in now. Yeah.
You hear us?
Okay. There we go.
Okay. So let's see. I'll kind of cut that little buzzy out of there, so don't worry about that. So tell us about some of the amazing stories that were presented during the gala, or stories that you are aware of. Just tell us one quick story that resonates with you, that gives our listeners a sense of what Elevate's all about.
So I would love to I'm going to give Brian's example. I think we shared a little bit in the invitational at the virtual gala. So he was a part of our very second class. And Brian had an interesting life situation. So he grew up a dreamer. So he was undocumented. And so to come in our class just to see the hopelessness he had in school, because the whole thought was, great if I finish high school, but then there's nothing for me after that. And this was prior to DACA coming into this space to give some hope to those kids who only knew America as their home. So from that hopeless place, being able to track with us, we had a partnership with the Parsons Foundation, with the Bob and Renee Parsons Foundation, and was able to scholarship him in that space for college. So it gave him more hope. And so now if you look at him today, he's 30 years old. He's providing financing in the mortgage space for even some of the students that were in Elevate space, being able to buy first homes for the first time. And his whole, speaking to our earlier conversation of give back, he wants to do the same thing. So he said, he came to me and said, Elevate gave me opportunity. I didn't see any other place that gave me that. And I want to be able to do that for others. So he set up a scholarship through Elevate called the Opportunity Scholarship. And for every application that he completes, he donates $100 towards Elevate. So at the time, when I last spoke with him, he's at about $4,200 into that scholarship. His goal is $20,000 within a year for that scholarship. So that just speaks to what our mission goes for. Not only do we want to pour in, teach that person how to fish so they can do it for themselves, but instill this sense of, you know what, I was given this opportunity, I want to pass it on and I want to give it to others. And so being able to pour back into the communities that they came out of. So you have, this sense of, oh, I think this neighborhood is this way. Things are changing. There's life change happening. And so this goes for generations to come. So he's been able to do that for, not only for people in the community, but his younger brother coming up. And so that's the kind of life change that we're trying to see and we're trying to pour into to create. So there's these whole new communities happening, rebirth of communities, so to speak. Yeah, so that's just one of the many of stories.
Yeah. And, you bring up another thing that I always strikes my nerve is, everyone's waiting for the government to take care of all these issues, and it just isn't going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you connect the dots with the people that don't have, and you put them together, let them just work together as a community versus write a check to the government or write taxes to the government. There's no connection. There's no soulfulness. There's no heart in any of that. So that's the other thing I love is when people can donate, whether it's writing a check or donate their time, and just make that connection,
Absolutely.
And you see what it's doing, what you just said, what it's doing in these communities. It's making so much more of a difference than what the government could ever provide.
Yes,
I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. That goes back to relationship, right?
Yeah, totally.
All starts there in relationship.
All starts there. That's exactly right.
Yes.
So how are kids doing out there in general with COVID and everything that's been going on this year? I know my kids were learning from home, and we're not wealthy by any stretch of imagination, but we're not suffering by any stretch of imagination either. So, my kids got 3 laptops and we got Wi-Fi and we got plenty of room. And so it's no big deal for us. But over the course of the summer, I kept thinking, what about these families that have 5 kids, they're living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and maybe they're lucky if they have 1 cell phone, I mean, what do you see? Is that I'm sure is happening out there?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So I would say when COVID first hit in March, that was a huge thing that we saw. So it really increased that achievement gap, right? From the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
So you look, technology and accessibility were the 2 biggest things that I believe our inner city population had to deal with. So I think it was a struggle in the very beginning. I think a lot of districts had the summer to kind of go through and evaluate how they can, if this does go longer, what does that look like for our kids in our communities? And so, for Elevate, we were able to pivot really well with our inner city kids. And so we just thought automatically, okay, this hit in March. Let's say it doesn't clear up in summer. And we always do a summer program for our kids. So we just thought, and we thought outside the box. So we went right to virtual space. So just being able to provide the tablets for kids to be able to do this. So we did a whole virtual summer program, provided like the bags and everything with all the things that kids would be able to need. So art supplies, the fitness supplies inside, snacks inside these bags for kids so that they'd be well equipped for doing a virtual program at home. And so that was definitely the hard hit side in the beginning. I think that things have gotten a little better. They've been able to evaluate what's needed in those spaces. So our kids are in a space of figuring out this new norm. They're doing better. I would say you have some who thrive in that, where it's like, okay, this happens. I'm used to obstacles being thrown my way. Oh, virtual, I can do this. I just need to hit it hard, get done what I need to get done. But then you do have a huge chunk, I would say, probably leaning more towards the 75% that are very hands-on. I need to be in front of you. I need that person to look at me like, I need that hand on my shoulder to say, hey, let's bring it back in. And so I feel like for those kids, I mean, they will expressly tell you like, yeah, I struggle a little bit in that space, but I'm learning how to overcome it and learning how to learn in this new space. So I think for us with our mission didn't change, right? Mm-hmm. It may have changed how we do things, but it's still there. So we're all about the relationship. So it looks different. We do FaceTime if we have the one-on-ones. We do Zoom meetings. We send, food by Uber Eats, or we send food by Grubhub, or, we give gift certificates for food for families. So our mission doesn't change, just how we do it. So I feel like our kids are more supported. I would say our Elevate students definitely are feeling the support, and their families are in this space. So different, a little difficult, new norms, but figuring it out, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so awesome. So one thing that Jazmine and I were kind of kicking around before the whole COVID thing hit us was, I see a lot of inner city kids, and I wasn't an inner city kid, but I was a kid that really had never met an architect. I knew what an architect kind of was, but I didn't know how I would ever become one. And so, I was able to get involved in a program where they did put me in an architect's office for a week when I was 13. And that was just enough of a spark to really get me going, because I had a vision of it then. I could see it. So one of the things that Jazmine and I were talking about was, get some of these inner city kids involved in a program where we would host them for a day at our office, get maybe 5, 6 kids. I don't know. I don't remember how many we talked about, Jazmine, but handful of kids, and get them there at the office early in the morning, kind of show them a slideshow of some of our houses, a video, and I think that would wow them into getting pretty fired up. And then go take them to a couple of these houses. I'd love to take them to one that's under construction, one that's a little further completed, and one that's completely done, completely decked out. Let them walk through that, come back to the office, have a nice lunch, and then give them a design problem, design a house that whole afternoon. And then that evening, get the parents in and have them do a wonderful dinner at our office. We have this great kitchen with Jazmine. I know we're going to get you over there on YouTube, Dalila. We're going to get you.
Like, excited.
And do a nice dinner with the parents, and then have the kids do a presentation of their floor plan. So we've been waiting for COVID to go away so we can physically be together, because I don't think that's a virtual experience.
No, I don't think so either. No.
So
I just say that I love that idea. I love it. Like, I think that just gives that visual, that hands-on, a beginning through all the way through the end. It involves not only the kids, but it involves their parents. So you have family, which, a lot of inner city kids, family is a crux, like it in a good way. Like that is a cornerstone, whether good or bad or dysfunctional, it is still a cornerstone. So to be able to involve family in that is huge. So I fell in love with that idea, because I think, we talk about giving kids the opportunity, right? And if you give them the opportunity and you give them vision of what that even looks like, you spark something that may never go away. Say they never go into that space, but they are able to speak to it now. and say, oh, or it's a spark and maybe they go into another area that involves that area. It's just something that gets them further pushed along into some dreams that maybe they didn't even know they could dream. So I love that. And I know, speaking with Jazmine, like this has been one of the things that Elevate has really strived to do as far as just putting opportunities out there and letting them know what exists, because you don't know unless you know what's out there, right? So I can just be in my box, in my community, this is all I see. But man, when you open the doors and windows to all these other spaces of what's possible, it allows dreams to blossom and get bigger, and dreams that they didn't even think they had. So I love that. And we really try to be a conduit for that, to give kids opportunities. But Jazz, you can speak into that too.
No, I think that this is one of the things when Mark came with this idea, this is the epitome of what we say when we want people to be a part. This is the kind of ideas that we would love to have. We have supporters like, Mark, you've not only been a financial supporter, but now you're doing both, right? You're doing things financially, you're giving the ideas, but then you're also bringing the tangible, like, here is something that our kids can think through if college could be for them or may not have to, because there's so many different vast different opportunities within that realm, the trades. And so, I mean, even hearing some of your own personal story, it made me excited to have our students, because didn't you come and speak to our kids last summer?
I think I did.
I'm trying to tell you, it's all about exposure. And when we expose our kids, not only to the different opportunities, but it also, it's showing that my internet connection is unstable.
Okay.
Hold on. There you go. Am I back? Okay. Yeah. So what this allows us to have a multifaceted connection, not only to the kids, also to our partners and our sponsors and our supporters, because now it becomes not only real to our kids getting opportunities, but it also gives a sense of what's in it for me, and that good feeling of give back to our supporters to really truly solidify that I'm in it with you to do the long-term partnership, because now our kids feel that not only are they investing in me financially, but they're also investing into me with opportunities.
Exactly.
So I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I don't think college is right for everybody. I mean, I went to college for a few years, but I never graduated. I ended up working for one of my professors, got my license the old-fashioned way, just learning it on the job, which is great. What happened, all my buddies that stayed in college, when they got out, they were all in debt. They all had to come work for me.
Right.
So that didn't go over so well for a lot of them. But that path, that path is still it's still possible. It still is out there.
It's an option.
It's an option. And I can think back to many years ago. I had a young lady come work for me as an intern. She wanted to work as an architect. She came in and it was our office girl, and took out the trash and went to the store to get stuff for us. She was 13 years old. Well, she stayed with us. She started learning how to draft. She just hung around. She learned the culture of being an architect. She ended up getting her degree. She ended up opening her own architecture firm. And so I know it's all possible. Part of it's just like you said, Dalila, just open up the door,
Yes, absolutely.
and start walking through. What I find too is when you give these kids things to do that are positive and eat up their time with stuff like that, they don't have time to get in trouble. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right.
That works for me. So that's why I keep my butt screwed to this drafting table.
Yes.
It's exactly what keeps me out of trouble.
Absolutely.
So it's a good thing, and I think in our industry in particular, there's so many opportunities for these kids. Like I think I told Jazmine, our stucco subcontractor, he has like 5 Lamborghinis. He owns like 6 restaurants. He does stucco work. Okay. Okay, so these are great jobs, and there's a lot of them. And what's happening is a lot of the people that have been doing these jobs are getting older, and you don't have a lot of young people filling those holes, but the holes are there, and they're huge,
Yeah.
And so what I want to do with the program that Jazmine and I talked about was just, get it started, work out the kinks, and then kind of spread it out to other people in our industry. Here's how we do it. Here's how you do your day. Here's the template. Here's the roadmap. Just do it.
Yeah.
And I'll even come there and help you the first time that you do it, you know?
So awesome.
And I think once people see that it's not that hard to do, and when they get the satisfaction that they will get in doing it, they'll go,
Yeah.
gosh, you know what? I can pick one Saturday a quarter to do this throughout
Right.
the whole year, you know?
Yes.
It's
I love that.
like a dozen or so businesses in the next 5 years that'll do this on a regular rotating Saturday, you know?
I love it. I love that. Just very tangible way of kids getting an opportunity that don't even know that it's out there. So
That's
I
right.
love that. And I think like even all of us, we have different walks of life that we came from. And
Yep.
so we don't even know all the opportunities that exist in the trade spaces. So when we come along and we say partner, like we mean that, like we're learning how we can, you know, steer kids in ways that, oh, you know what, you would be good. You love working with your hands. Why would you not want to do that? And
Right.
so, you know, just opening up the opportunity, the doors.
Well, that's why I think as we get into this a little bit too, you know, I'm a board member of Habitat for Humanity, and that's just another great spot where we've got a great program that we started where we're teaching people skills, you know, while they're building these houses so they can go later get a good job. You know, and there's no reason we can't get the kids out there on a Saturday and let them work on it as part of the Elevate team and build a house for a family, you know.
Right.
It's building their resume, right? For the opportunities that are going to be set for them later. I love it.
Exactly right. Yep. So what are some of the goals for Elevate in 2021, ladies? What's some of your objectives for the upcoming year?
And so one thing is, you know, staying healthy. We want to be,
Yeah.
you know, a healthy organization, be sustainable. But, you know, our long-term view too is we want to grow. We want to be able to impact as many lives as we can, because we know in impacting that one, just how many it spreads out to be, right? And so that's just, you know, the nuts and bolts of it. We want to just be able to give back to our communities well. And so investing in those kids who are going to be the leaders, who are going to be in charge of making the decisions. If we can do right by them, they're going to be able to do right in their futures. And so, and be able to pass it on to the generations after them. So that's the big overview, if you will, but Jazz, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, no, I mean, to your point, growth and our sustainability and growth are always going to be our pillars of what we want to do. And we want to grow organically and firm foundationally. And so when we have that infrastructure in place, so when things like pandemic hit, you know, it's not catching us off guard, or when things, you know, come up, we know that we have everything in place, not only for our kids, but internally, because our biggest asset as well is our staff, because, you know, our staff is those teacher mentors that are the I like to call them the living stones of who our kids get to be, right? And so as long as we know that we're pouring into them as well and giving them the proper training and making sure that they have all the resources available to them as well. So we want to make sure that not only are we having the proper infrastructure and making sure that each pipeline, and when I say pipeline, Mark, I'm saying it starts at the high school and it goes to the entire elementary school, that's geared to all the things that they need. And then we start into the next school with one class and grow it organically. So sustain what we have and grow into new schools to where eventually we had 28 kids and now we're at 5,000 and soon we'll take over the entire world.
Yes.
I love it. So is Elevate only in Phoenix, or is there other cities that have Elevate?
That is a great question. And yes, Elevate is in other cities as well. So Elevate USA is the national over a lot of those Elevates in different cities. We all run separately. So we have our own board. We raise money for our own space within the cities, but definitely in other cities. So we have it in Orlando. There is New England. There is St. Louis. There is Dallas, New York. So there are definitely Elevates in other spaces. We stay in contact, like we're doing the same work. So there's some camaraderie in that, although we may do it differently based on our region and, you know, what we got going on in those different cities, but it definitely exists in other cities too. So in Jacksonville and in Florida, so feel free to kind of check them out as well.
So where did Elevate start?
Colorado Uplift.
Okay,
So
what's
we're
that?
replication. So yep. So Elevate is a replication of Colorado Uplift in Colorado. So that was the mothership, so to speak.
Gotcha.
So that was the very first one. And so everything that we kind of do in the programs and how we've kind of developed how we do what we do came from that space. So it started off there. They're still running program themselves. So it started off with them kind of training us. So Orlando was first and Arizona came right after, being the first replications. And, you know, it got to be a lot because they run their own organization too. So that's how it kind of birthed USA. So they came along, I want to say like 5 years ago. So to be able to kind of man and see where the interest is in other cities to have the same type of programming in inner cities.
Interesting. That's great. So what can our listeners do to help this cause and organization? I know you mentioned the website. That's probably the best place to go to, right? Just to get started.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the website is your first level is, you know, go to the website, sign up to be on subscribe to our newsletter. That way you can stay abreast to all of our events. Then you can stay abreast to all the opportunities to come alongside our kids when we are doing different things, whether they're service projects or even give back. So like the holidays, we do a turkey drive, you can get involved. You know, we try to do things for, you know, Christmas time. And so we have so many opportunities that people can get involved, but the first step is to subscribe to our newsletter, see what we have coming, have access to us through the web as well. So www.elevatephoenix.org is that first level. And our biggest thing in our truest need is not only finding, you know, other supporters like you, of course, Mark, but we're looking for corporate partners. We're looking for more development board members. Mm-hmm. We're looking for sponsors for an event. We're looking for people who would just want to be, you know, donors to these. Every month we have something that our kids are in need of. So we have like laptop drives or backpack drives or toy drives or things of that nature. So people who can bring their creativity, kind of like what you did, mm-hmm. And say, hey, this is what I have to offer. We are still grassroots where we are loving the opportunities that can come alongside, and people just bring your skills and your unique creativity, and let's dream together and find win-wins.
I love
it. So we're all about that.
I was, you know, we're always involved in lots of things. People go, well, I should love to help. How do I help? How do I help? And I go, just get involved. I mean, just like you said, reach out.
Absolutely.
And everyone's, you know, thinking, you know, I got to make this big splash. Well, you don't need to make a big splash. A lot of little tiny drops add up to a big splash. So I tell people,
absolutely,
just do a little bit. Do a little bit will make a huge difference. You know, don't think you have to make some big thing to be involved.
It's so true.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
it takes one rock to be thrown in the stone to build the ripples effect.
I say that all the time because it's so true. It is so true. You know, and if we do it collectively, boy, it makes a big wave, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
So any New Year's resolutions for the two of you? What about you, Jazmine? What any resolutions for 2021?
You know, some people use the word resolution. I use the word of, you know, it's another year of opportunity to hold me to what my, what's the word? To hold myself accountable to my purpose.
Yeah.
As long as I'm moving forward within my purpose, which is to impact and make a difference in my world internally and then externally, because I live from the inside out. And so being good for me and being healthy for my family in turns allows me to be good for my surroundings and healthy for my community, which again, I will help to take over the world. So,
well, if anyone can do it, it would be you, Jazmine.
Specific.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to tell people they're gonna know. She took over the world.
What about you, Dalila? What's your goals for 2021?
So I try to stay away from the word resolution, New Year resolution, because a lot of those fall real wane when it gets to mid-January to end.
Yeah.
So, along the lines of Jazmine, I look for new opportunities in the new year. I'm like, 2020 was a doozy, but I feel like it prepared probably a lot of people in a lot of different ways that they had no idea for the upcoming year, right? So
Yep.
I'm just looking for the opportunities that are out there. And, similar to what Jazz says, I have it, this purpose in my heart in the sense of, this is a calling for me. It's not just a job. So if I can be really intentional about, investing of what's inside of me, then the better I'll be for everyone else. So if I can, if we can make that small impact in our community, in our communities,
Yep.
just imagine like what multiple splashes do. Like you said, it makes that wave. So I want to be part of that ripple. I want to be part of that, pebble that goes in there. So if I can have other people join in and jumping in the pool with us, then that's what I'm all about.
That's
so looking
exactly
forward
right.
to new opportunities in 2021.
Yeah. Well, I would.
Do you have any?
Well,
Yeah.
I've always got a ton of them. I don't know how many. I'm trying to learn Italian. I've been trying to learn Italian for I don't know how many years.
Yes.
I'm on my Italy tour, and I'm supposed to practice every day. Well, I missed 2 days in a row now, so I'm already mad at myself. So. Got to get back on. I got the Peloton. I missed that yesterday, so I got to get on that right as soon as I'm done with you ladies. So,
See, my resolutions are hard.
I just keep pulling the screen. I got to get smaller again, So all good stuff. But I'm looking forward to the new year, and I agree with you with the ripple thing. I really love that metaphor because the dark side of the world, they're always busy. They're always doing things. They're always messing up the world.
Yeah.
It's like up to us. We can either resign to it or we can push back. And it's like, we got to push back. We got to push back hard,
Yeah.
So I commend both of you. I could sit here and talk to you two forever because what you guys bring to the table is what resonates in my soul. So I just want to thank you for what you're doing. It's just awesome. It's so awesome. And it's just so good to hear, there is hope and there is opportunity, and it's up to us to make that opportunity.
Yes. Right. Absolutely.
So thank you to you both.
Thank you so much for having us on today, Mark. And thank you just for your contribution.
Did I miss anything?
I think we covered it all. I think we got it all in there, surprisingly enough. But like you said, I can talk to you for hours. I just love just your insight, your creativity of what you want to pour into this space too. And it's not, just writing a check. Like it's more than that. And I so appreciate that. So thank you so much.
I look forward to that Saturday.
Yes, Mark.
I am so excited. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, Mark, I'm going to be picking your mind. I will probably be calling you here pretty early in Q1 because we also want to do some new quarterly events, and just seeing some of your pictures are already giving me ideas, and I already know how creative you are. I would love to
we will do it. We will do it. I've been thinking of some virtual things we could do with your kids. So there's lots of things we can do. There always is. So we'll figure it out. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
You bet. Great job. How do our listeners find us? You gave us the Elevate www. Do that again one more time.
www.elevatephoenix, all spelled out, .org.
.org. And you guys are on Instagram.
We are on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
There we go. We can find you. All right. Well, thank you so much. Happy New Year to you both. And I look forward to the new year with all of you.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you so much, Jazmine and Dalila. That was so inspiring, and I commend both of you for your spirit and passion and all you are doing to lead this amazing organization. Also, a big thank you to our good friends Tom and Melissa Lehman, who got me involved in this organization a few years back. And I'll tell you what, he does such a great job. He kind of is the leader of this organization. He has spearheaded it and just does a great job. Both him and his wife, Melissa, are just wonderful people, and I could not be more proud to be part of such a wonderful organization that's making such a big difference. When you hear the stories of these kids, it moves your heart. So kudos to you guys. Thank you so much. There's a lot more to come here for sure, so stay tuned. We have some great podcasts coming to you in the weeks ahead. Next week, we have two inspiring gentlemen from Habitat for Humanity, which I'm also very passionate about, and I'm a proud board member on this charity, and they will fill us in on yet another place you can step up and make a difference in our community. We have some amazing podcasts in the weeks ahead. With world-renowned kitchen and millwork designer Christopher Peacock from Greenwich, Connecticut. I have world-renowned architect Ken Tate and his son Duke, who just released an amazing book, and many others coming. So get ready for more podcasts featuring inspiring living. Okay, check out our blog on our website. Link is also in the episode notes, where we look back at the entire year of 2020 and all that was accomplished over the course of the year, and acknowledging all of those who made 2020 a successful year despite all of its challenges. Okay, I want to give back a big thank you to all of you who have been listening to our podcast as our listeners keep growing nicely. Thank you also for the ratings and reviews. Remember, the first review we get dated January 24th or later will receive a free Candelaria collection pasta maker. So give us some love on those ratings and reviews, and make sure you direct message or email me that you posted a review so that we can get you your pasta maker. Okay, those reviews really, really help us. So you guys give us a great review. You'll get a great pasta maker. It's a win-win, okay? We do our best to inspire living in everything we do, from our podcast to our cooking classes to our tours, and of course, with our Candelaria Design homes. Okay, have a great week, everyone. Stay safe, and let's all live our lives with love, compassion, grace, and positivity. See you next week. Because Inspiring Living is all about the people and the organizations that inspire us, we are excited to have Monogram Appliances as one of our sponsors. Anytime we do a new kitchen or a kitchen remodel, Monogram Appliances are what we recommend to our client. Their appliances are the definition of luxury, meticulously detailed using the finest materials and an ownership experience that is second to none. This is how Monogram is always thinking ahead and inspiring and elevating the kitchen experience. Because at Monogram, they don't just elevate one thing, they elevate everything. I want to say a big thank you to my good friends at Stockett Tile and Granite Company, where your project is our priority. I want to thank the Stockett team, along with so many others who contributed to the success of our fabulous demonstration kitchen in our new Candelaria Design office expansion. You will have to check out our online video cooking classes, and our kitchen is amazing. I've had the pleasure of working with the Stockett team for nearly 40 years on many spectacular projects, and trust me, they are the epitome of excellence when it comes to tile, marble, and granite work, bar none. Their skill and customer service is impeccable, and the bottom line is they are just good people. I have traveled with, dined with, and just had good times, both personally and professionally, with Dave Stockett and his lovely wife, Becky, and they are the best. When it comes to your next tile and stone project, make sure Stockett Tile and Granite is a part of your team. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. We encourage you to write a review, screenshot it, and share it with your friends. Please instant message it to me and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights to inspiring living next week.